Internet. What's going on? Try to get comfortable. Look at that double chin and gappy beard. I can tell I'm just surviving. But there's always a but. You know, in life, if the shit, the proverbial, hits the proverbial fan, but like properly hits it, you, my friend, are going to find yourself alone. And there is a temptation there for people. This is why there's sin. There is a temptation then to act immorally, to try to exert or elicit or manifest revenge when you get hurt. The natural reaction for most, especially younger, is to want to snap back and to deal in the dealings of retribution. Now, I learned, or I say learned, that doesn't sound terribly humble, does it? I was given the understanding, back to it again, that being the bigger person is the only way to self-actualization, to harmony, to growth, to the truth. And the truth is, oh, I just farted. Flipping heck. And the truth is very important. It's the only important thing. But it is hard, man. When you're like, when you've been, especially if you ever had people lying about you and stuff like that, it's really easy to fall into the trap of even speaking back and out about it to those in the sphere that are dealing with it. The Bible calls it a froward mouth. And yeah, as I say, I managed to get to the thought process of even going back and explaining, and like, you should never have to justify. So like, even when you've got people talking shit about you and they're lying, for example, in a case with me, I would then not, the right thing for me to do isn't then to go round the houses and explain and say, well, this person did this and this person did this, because that isn't the right thing to do. And in those moments, it is quite difficult to not do that, especially when, in speaking from personal experience, it would be sharing the truth. But then to share the truth would then be to make someone else, I'd say look bad, but it's just like the same thing that happened with the police. Like, I didn't make them look bad, they made themselves look bad. And I suppose in the sense that I was contradictory on that front, but I suppose in the sense also it's different because it was the system of power and supposed nobility that, you know, the protective element of the police is why I didn't adhere to the froward mouth thing in that instance. Because the police are the ones that should be protecting us, not. Anyway. Well, there is a psalm, and I think it's 78 or 87, I think, or maybe 84. One of the psalms, and it does literally break down that seeking revenge or going and eliciting retribution done by the person isn't the way, isn't the path, isn't the righteous thing to do. And however hard it is, especially when you have people lying about you, if you've ever felt like that, to then not even go and plead your case in a sense, because that wouldn't be the right thing to do. I have found that from personal experience challenging. But that's been happening for a while in a few different life scenarios. And I think I said on here a few days ago, after any drama, there's different types of people, and two of those archetypes would be the person that talks shit about someone, or even talks about someone, and the person that doesn't. There's only one of them that you can trust. And one thing that I learned, actually, and I learned this from Mike Skinner, the lead singer from The Streets, or the rapper, or whatever you call him, is if someone's talking rubbish about someone else to you, they're also talking rubbish about you to someone else. And I've never got that, and I've been around that a lot, and I didn't realise, and because I didn't have good tools and I wasn't good at setting boundaries, I found myself being caught up in that quite a lot, but being super trusting. And one thing I didn't also get, personable people can also be completely full of it, and they can be really personable, but that doesn't mean that they're nice. And that was a mind-blowing thing. I was like, because I think maybe a little bit the autistic thing, or because I'm personable and can be perceived to be like quite a nice person to be around, and like friendly and compassionate and caring and things like that. And then when I talk to someone that I have that sort of rapport with, maybe someone that's a little bit more linguistic, or someone that's, I see myself in that sense, or that personable trait, personability, that trait, I then associated that with them being like compassionate and kind and a decent person. And it so transpires that is not the case as well. And I found that out. I found that out at university, and that was a big eye opener. But then I never really clocked it until later in life. I've got a little doggy here. So, do you want to get on TV then? So, yeah, it's really easy to fire back and join in with the gabble, should we say, and not stick to that flowered mouth thing. I actually had to get a priest to clarify that. I spoke to a priest, and I was put in touch with an old school friend, and he put me in touch with a guy that he knows, some sort of clergyman. And and I asked him, what does that flowered mouth thing? And it basically means gossiping. And then it got the sort of the I'm gonna fart again. And basically the lines or dots that I drew between that was very much along the lines of keep your mouth shut, have faith and trust the process. And I think that's why as well I'm conscious on here when I'm sharing that I don't name drop, and I try and speak more sort of like either I stick to the feeling, or I try and be quite vague with, albeit I definitely did drop my nan in it once, but she is an absolute nightmare. Honestly, she's bonkers. Love her to bits. But stepping away from, I've completely hypocrite right now, but stepping away from situations that aren't necessarily in your best interests, even when it's linked to like close people, it's never it's a complicated thing, but ultimately, I think everybody knows intuitively whether or not something's beneficial or helping or heeding, that's not the right word I'm looking for, hindering. I'm very lucky to have these two dogs, and they were driving me nuts earlier. The moments, I just had one of those days today where I was zoned out and played Football Manager all day and smoked cigarettes. I tried not to smoke as much today. I tried to eat less chocolate as well. It's just, I've had one of those days today, you know, like it proper felt like Bank Holiday Sunday, and I'm on my own all the time, and it's, well, the majority of the time, and it's fine, but it just got to a point where I just started a new season on Football Manager. This is a game I've been playing for years. I'm on Football Manager 2019. I'm in 2040 something with this Italian team called Teramo Calcio that aren't even in existence anymore. It's like this one of the smallest Italian teams, and I've got them into the Serie A, and I've just been playing it for years. And I'm actually quite attached. I got the there's an unlockable on it where you can create your own son when you have a player that's been with you for more than 10 years. And Danilo Ambro, who is actually a real person who has no idea that I've been obsessed with him. He was a very low league Italian player, but for some reason on this game he just popped, and I had him for years anyway. I ended up getting an Italy shirt with Ambro on the back, because it was just, the thing with a Football Manager is it hits, like you do get emotionally attached to your plays and stuff. It's funny, the highs and lows, but yeah, I feel like nowadays I'd rather do the thing than watch the thing, or I'd rather, I don't know, I find it difficult to watch films, partly because of the agendas that I can now see in everything. The difficulty is when you start noticing these things in the media, it's like, oh, for goodness sake, and then another one. So I've heard about the adolescence documentary on Netflix, and I can't even bear to watch it because I just know it'll affect my energy so much, because there'll be so much that people are just... The thing is with the majority of people is they're easily scared, but like these systems of control have been manipulated to be really, really good, and there's no judgment on my part. I've realised that if someone is, for example, the very extreme left, if someone is like that, they do think that they're doing the right thing. That's the thing with that, the liberal that's gone way too far and become unhelpful, should we say. Ow! Lost my trail of thought. Oh yeah, I have some quite liberal views, and I think the whole political class thing and labelling people and getting everyone to be different, and you have to fit a certain box, or you have to be a square peg in a square hole, and it's just like, well, what if I'm part of a square and part of a triangle and part of a circle, but then the other people that are in the squares and the triangles live in this thing where everyone's got to be forced into a pack, and then once you're in that square hole, the people in the triangle hole and the circle hole just disregard everything you say. I mean, it's just divide and conquer. It's the same with race, like the colour of someone's skin. The media just distorts it entirely. And a good example is black culture. Because we now think of a person, the stereotypes, you can describe certain demographics with the stereotype. But that stereotype only exists because of the media now. It just builds it and builds it and builds it, and then we see it as like complete truth. But none of it is true. It's all ideological. And actually, we're all just trying to make sense of what's going on in and around us. We don't have all the answers. We aren't necessarily given the best tools, with the schooling system and things like that. Why is Johnny from down the road learning Pythagoras theorem when he's going to be a tiler? It's just like, why are we not teaching our kids entrepreneur skills? Why are we not teaching our kids how to structure a mortgage or money management or, life skills that actually are going to benefit? Like, there's so much stuff that they do in school that's just, they shouldn't be doing it. They shouldn't be wasting the time on it. And it is a wasting. And really and truly, I've noticed more. I've thought about this for a long time, but more so recently, that the schooling system, all it does is get us ready for a system. It's obedience training. And free thinkers are outcasts. Free thinkers are pariahs. Naughty kids are put in detention or suspension or expelled, and then you're outside of the system. Homeless people are outside of the system. It's like, why is there people that live outside, especially in like more developed countries? The system doesn't work properly. There's so much injustice. There's so much pain. There's so much. Don't get me wrong. There's so much nice stuff as well. It's hard to see it sometimes at the minute. But like, it's all fugazi. But yeah, I have this dream of having like a life university where I'll take like, probably like college age or even before. I'd really like to, I'm conscious of oversharing because I don't know who's going to see this kind of thing, and my understanding of energies and people wishing bad energies on things. I'm conscious that I have a felt sense that those things exist. So, to overshare, especially with someone that's been ADHD, it's something that I've had to learn how to not do. There's spiders there making a web. My house needs to clean. It's well challenging on your own. Is that a bug stuck in it, or is the spider literally making? Anyway, I don't think that we're given the best opportunity to be happy and healthy, and I think that everyone deserves that opportunity, regardless of where you're born, what you're born into, and I think probably I saw there was a Jack Charlton, who's a famous football manager, and in his, I think it's probably his book, I've got it there, I've not read it yet. Leonardo passed it to me the other day, which is nice. He talks about, it was back in the days when managers ran the club or the team or whatever. And he talks about, and this is really where the successful dynasties came from, like Alex Ferguson and those sort of, the boss. He said one of the learnings from Jack Charlton was be a dictator but be a nice one. It always stuck with me, that. And yeah, I hope in time that doors opened for me to be able to have a positive and lasting impact on my community and my family and everyone, really. And I hope that through my achievements, whether they be in whatever they be in, and the lessons that I've learned and the resilience that I've managed to find, and like it or not, I just think we're all walking around with the blinkers on, and we think we know everything because science is so clever, but science is just a humanistic conceptualization of what's going on in and around us. It doesn't have all the answers, and I think it's misguided to be stoic on closed-minded views. And I had a moment today. Like I say quite regularly that I like being wrong, and I had that challenge with myself today. I was interested in the number of male suicides under 50, And it's a huge number. It's definitely something that's not spoken about as much as it should be for whatever reason. And I was trying to compare it to the COVID deaths just to see, like, I was like, oh my God, a bit like, oh no, it wasn't that. The COVID deaths things I was right about. There's way more suicides under 30, under 40, under 50 than there was COVID death. We don't talk about suicides. Anyway, that one I was right about. The one I was wrong about was, being more conscious of the subliminal messaging through the media. It's not even that subliminal once you clock onto it. I've very much noticed of late, listening to my old CDs, that teenagers were made to be jackrabbits with each other. Teenage dirtbag, sucking dick in the back of the Iron Maiden cover band. Like, it's just, so I was like, okay, so there is sort of messaging within music that manipulates the media and the society. The society reflection of the media, as media reflection of society. And I was like, I've been listening, I was listening to Offspring and Linkin Park, and there's a lot of these emo bands. And anyway, they talk about suicide in the songs quite a lot, and there's quite a lot of mentions of it or messaging of it. And I was like, oh man, I bet it's gone up loads, because like, I mean, it has. It's gone up like 30% male suicide since the 2000s. And that's taken into account for population increase as well. But I was like comparing, I was like, oh, I bet it's gone up every year, and like, no. And I mean, it has gone up, but it wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be. And I was like, I actually had to take one on the chin for myself. It's funny. It's quite a nice. It's quite a weird, nice moment. It's being wrong is like. That's the first time I think I've felt challenged by being wrong. Normally I just lap it up like crazy, but this one I was like, it was uncomfortable because I was like, no, and then I was like, this is a cool growth moment for me. And yeah, I just think that there's some quite simple changes that we could make that would help everyone, depending on what their goals are, I suppose. But in the best interest of everyone, harmony seems to be the best way to everyone just be sound, would be a phrase that might be understandable. And yeah, harmony. We've got to lower the bottom rung of the ladder so that the marginalised aren't quite as marginalised. But then there's so much bigger things at play with politics and borders and controlling globalist groups but yeah, I think the main thing that I want to share today is just this thing of, from what I can understand, the very, very, very far left seem to be the one that create frictions with the Far East and Islamic communities. And while I do think that we take it too far, I definitely don't agree with any sort of set. I think probably cosmetic surgery should be delayed as far as possible, and therapy and talking about stuff should be extensive. Therapy should be the first port of call, and after so long, if the adult wants to make certain changes to their body, then they should probably be afforded the right to do that, because you can't really tell anyone what they can and can't do, because that would, I mean, just do whatever the fuck you want, but just make sure you've gone through all of the, don't make a rash decision emotionally and quickly, especially when it comes to something like a sex change, for example, or one for someone that might be a little bit young to be making those decisions. And it seems that the very extreme left do seem to ruffle the feathers. I'm trying to be objective about it, right? And I'm trying to look at it, and like I look at porn, and it's like it's gone from being subjectively awkward to sort of, in my mind, becoming like objectively misguided. And the burqa being, from my understanding, that the burqa is there to protect women, and my understanding of what it's like to be a man and looking at booties, and I get that. And I'm just saying, I'm not saying everybody should wear a burqa, but I'm saying in traditional Christian values, more conservative wears, for example, it leads to porn if you do that. And I think porn's incredibly destructive. And it's quite a strong view, that, isn't it? So I guess what I really would say is that it's very, very misguided, and it ties in with being the very boundary pushing liberal side. Now, I think that anybody should be allowed to do, any adult should be able to make their own minds up about things. I just think perhaps it might be beneficial to give those people, and I'm specifically talking about sex change, but it goes wider. If they really had understanding of themselves and their trauma and their intergenerational trauma and their motivations and their drivers and things like that, then they might be able to make a more full and proper objective decision, and taking away the emotional side of the brain, looking at all the facts objectively, and then making your mind up. And then if you decide after all of that you still want to bukkake, then you should be allowed to do so. It's just, where do you draw the line, and who draws the line? I did get to a point where, with pornography, I just, I couldn't help just see a really vulnerable woman being taken advantage of. It's a bit of a turn off, that, as well. But we've been entrapped, enslaved in this dumbing down of Christianity, this watering down of moral fortitude linked to a good way of explaining it is, I think Beyonce is one of the most destructive forces to feminine energy that's ever existed. I don't mean necessarily just Beyonce, but the sex sells, get your kit off and make money from parading your ass around as a woman and showing your bits off. I think that's probably the most destructive force for young females, and any, because we've lived with it for so long. It's so destructive. Like, we're telling our young women, or young, full of potential, full of gifts that men don't have. It's like, do you want a mother or do you want a fuck girl? What do you want? If you had a kid and your kid was looking at you and the argument is, it was my body, I can do what I want. It is. And I'm just suggesting that there probably are moral implications, and there are more than likely going to be unresolved issues mixed in there. And if you really knew the motives of the people that were putting you into those positions. Because really, I saw Russell Brand said something. I don't really watch Russell Brand that much, but it's a bit much. But he said something about billboards. When you see your face on a billboard, and you get your ego shoots up like crazy. He said, don't forget that someone's making money off that. And I suppose that's kind of what I'm trying to get at. Pornography is, in an objective sense, there is someone that's making money off having a girl or whatever it is showing their intimacy, intimate parts, intimate whatever, and then using that to make money. It's my body, I can do what I want. Yeah, fair enough, but I don't think if you really understood the drivers for those actions, or if the girls in those videos really understood the practicalities of their sort of being their nakedness, their bearing of their intimacy is being exploited for money. How deep down do you go down this, this rabbit hole? I really hate that term. It's because it gives negative connotations to philosophical thinking. And it's like, you go deeper on that, it's like, oh, okay, well, where does it stop? So it's, okay, say there's a guy or a girl that's running the company that's making the porn. All right, well, what's their driver? All right, well, it's making money, isn't it? It's probably not going to be creative expression, artistic flair, and they want to make money. It's like, okay, what do they need money for? What are their drivers? And if you peel it all back, it really seems to all end in sin, the 7 sins, and righteousness, and my backside. Yeah. There's definitely a thing at the moment talking about the Illuminati or whatever, and how it's these Jewish families and this and the other. And I've said this loads of times. It's not the Jewish. You can't say then Jewish people are bad, because even if there was Jewish families that were abusing their powers for control and whatever it was, it's not the fact that they're Jewish it's not the fact that they're Jewish is bad. It's the fact that it's greed. So it's not, we're forever fighting battles of ideological labels against each other, whether it be United against City, whether it be black against white, whether it be India against Pakistan, whether it be whatever it is, when actually the real thing is good against bad. It's Luke Skywalker against Darth Vader. It's Spider-Man against the Green Goblin. It's Neo. I've got a picture of the Matrix there. Against, who did Neo fight against? The agents, which would be the system. It's good against bad, isn't it? Harry Potter against Voldemort. These archetypes exist because it comes from somewhere, doesn't it? Existence. Oh yeah, we're going deep on it tonight, baby. So, it's very easy to get caught up in black against white, red against blue. But it's like the water bottle thing. If you've got a green water bottle, a blue water bottle, a red water bottle, and you cut them all open, they've all got water inside. And it's like, yeah, but I attach myself to my red coating. It's like, well, why? Why is the greatest question ever. Why? Why? Danielle's got a tattoo with the word why on her. I've been thinking about copying her. It is a fantastic question. Yeah, well, I don't feel zonked off that one. My first video, bloody hell. That was a lot. Flipping heck. So, what can I leave you with? Yeah, just think about that one, about how like the water bottle concept, and then a good and easily understandable example is black culture. It's all right. Where is there a possibility that might be in any way biased up or down via media? And what I mean by that is there a possibility that we live in a system that's purposely dividing us? And for what end might that be? And if we all had the same goals, which are mutually beneficially aligned with others, and all of our goals was harmony and equal opportunity, well, not even equal opportunity, just a higher, lower, because within you have to find some sort of system to operate in. So, let's create a new one. Moneyless society is an interesting concept. It seems that you can bank good karma as well. And yeah, if you go and try and get revenge of any sort, you will create bad karma. Everything's connected. It's like this. It's like the snow globe. The universe is like an ever-expanding snow globe. But in a snow globe, the water's attaching everything to everything, isn't it? The water's attaching all the little snow bits, or the little snowman, or the tree inside the snow globe. It's all connected. So a good example is like if you hit the snow globe and it smashed, everything would move one way. It's a little bit more complicated because the snow globe is probably ever expanding in this universe, as I understand it. But if you shake it, it all moves in the same way, or there's an equal and opposite reaction. Equal and what's that Einstein one? It's all connected, and that's like us. And the snow, even if there's a snowman stood next to a tree, we're still just part of the snow globe, and that's the one love concept, as far as I can figure out. So, pussies on the pavement, fellas. Why did I do that? Do you know why I did that? Because I felt anxious, because I've really shared some deep shit and some deep stuff, and I've got anxious and I wanted to make a joke to take away my feelings of vulnerability and detract from the stuff that I was saying, which means a lot to me. And I've thought about it for a long time, so then I don't want to feel judged on that. And because I don't want to feel judged on that, I then try to detract from it. But the truth is that all that stuff that I've spoken about, I really want a better future for everyone, and my kid and everyone's kids, and I think that we can create it. I just don't think that we're doing. I think we're being misguided. So that is 38 minutes, 38 seconds. Say good night, Biggie. You hate the camera. Oh man, chocolate buttons are keeping me alive, but oh my good god. You start running. Lonely, I'm still lonely. I have nobody to call my own. You look so tired, mate. Say bye, internet. Funny fuckers.